As you all probably figure, YouTube can be a hard beast to wrangle, and for every subscription it gives my channel just a little bit more of a boost. And if I could get you to subscribe, click a few buttons, like the video if you like it, comment if you've got something to say, that would mean the world to me. And with that said, let's jump into Alan Wake 2 at 1440p, deep dive settings. Thanks. Alright everyone, we are in Alan Wake 2 again with the 5070, and in this particular video I wanted to go through a little bit more of the in-depth settings and not necessarily focus on the higher end settings, but something that was more toward the low end. This is a 1440p card, it's got 12 gigabytes of VRAM, and let's just see what we can do as far as getting something that's really nice to look at and runs really well, and not be too focused on completely maxing out every single thing. So right now I just wanted to run you through everything that I've got set. So I am on a full screen 1440p DLAA, so no upscaling at all. None of the bells and whistles of frame generation, no path tracing, no ray reconstruction, nothing like that. We're just on a custom set here with everything dropped all the way to the bottom. So everything is completely bottomed out without ray tracing, without path tracing, nothing at all. So I just want to see where we can start, and then as we go up, of course we'll lose a little bit of performance, but we'll just find that happy middle ground. Alright, so with that said, let me jump out of here. And we are running at 96 FPS with some of those higher end settings turned off. You can notice a little bit of degradation in some of the graphics quality, of course, shadows and that kind of thing, but honestly it looks really good still. Some of the ground scatter, the ground detail has a little bit of a flatness to it, so probably the first thing that I'm going to focus on is just getting some of this level of detail turned up. So let's go ahead and do that, and let's jump over to our options, and let's go to, let me get this out of the way so I can see. Alright, I'll bring it back when I'm done with this part. Alright, so let's go into here and let's go with some of the shadow detail. As you can see, it gives you a little preview there, and some of the shadow filtering. That's not too, I'm not going to mess with that right now. I just want to kind of go with some of the things that I know will make a nice difference. That's a big difference right there. Terrain quality and then level of detail. So we're going to jump that back up to high, terrain quality to high. The fog, we're going to leave that alone, and let's go up to shadow detail. I believe that's what I saw earlier that we want to do. And then you got your shadow resolution, but let's just leave that alone for now. We can always come back to it. Let me bring my performance meter back, and that's dropped us down to 87, 88, and our VRAM allocation, of course, is in really good shape still. Now out here you've got some spots like these leaves look particularly flat, and as I get closer they pop in. So you see they pop in and out. So as you get closer, that level of detail does go up, but it's pretty noticeable. So let's just walk around here. Let's just get some more scenes to load in, some more stuff to look at. Alright, so tapping on 100, that's pretty nice. Really good experience. I mean, obviously we've got things cranked down pretty low. I mean, these textures look pretty rough, so let's go and see what we can do with the textures. I'm going to bring this out of the way again. Alright, so let's go down to texture resolution. Let's go with high on that. And texture filtering, let's go with medium. And let's just see what that does. Does look a good bit better. We've got a lot more three-dimensionality to the setting, to the scene here. The ground scatter looks like it's actually leaves sticking up and not just like painted on. Let me bring the performance back, and we didn't give up a lot of performance really. I mean, we're at, you know, still in the 90s. And our VRAM allocation is 9.5. It's only using 8.4, 8.5. So these are some pretty nice settings. Now, granted, I have not done any upscaling. This is still, you know, native DLAA. So once we start getting closer and closer to something that is around 60, we can always kick on some quality DLSS and raise our settings up a little bit more. So let's go ahead and jump in to do that. Bring that out of the way again. Alright, so let's go into here, and we are going to bring that texture up all the way to ultra and high. Volumetric lighting, let's work on that some, and the spotlight. This does a little bit, but only between medium and high. So I'm going to just leave that low for now. And let's work on our shadows. Put those to medium and our shadow filtering to high. We've already got shadow detail on high, so let's go see what this does. We're in the 70s now, so still not a bad experience at all. And we've got our texture set to high. We've got everything looking a lot better here. I mean, this is a nice improvement for only a cost of 20 FPS or so whenever you're considering that you're already above that 60 anyway. Now our VRAM allocation did go up. It's at 10.3, but it's still well under the 12 gigabytes that we have on this card. Still got a little bit of some pop in, but I'm not sure if that's just part of the game and how it manages the VRAM that's on this card. One user, or one not user, a commenter pointed out that that could be how it's managing that VRAM buffer. And in my opinion, that's a hell of a lot better than crashing and stuttering and all that stuff. So if that's what you got to do, that's what you got to do. But yeah, it's looking really good. We're at 68, 73, 70. This is a really nice experience. Again, this is just a single player title, and it's perfectly playable on a controller. I'm actually on a controller now, and yeah, this is a super playable experience. Nothing seems to be like really sticking out as like, oh, that's a huge problem for me. So we can still mess with these settings. Let's still go into them and get that out of the way, and let's go here and let's see what we can do. Processing quality, let's go up a little bit there. That'll make it look a little bit more fleshed out. And let's go ahead and do that global illumination to high and our shadows to high. So right here we've kind of maxed out this top part of the graphics setting, and down here is some settings we're going to look at in just a minute. All right, let's bring that back. Let's jump back into the game. 63, so we're getting close to that 60, so it's absolutely still playable. Nothing wrong with it at all. But if we mess with it too much, we might need to kick on some upscaling, which will help our VRAM. The upscaling has a VRAM penalty, but whenever you consider that it's reducing the background render resolution, that penalty is overwhelmingly made up for. So, you know, something at 1080p will run a little bit less VRAM allocation than something that's being upscaled to 1440 from 1080p, but it's still very much worth it. All right, so let's got some just weird pop in, pop out in this case.
Hey Casey,
just something to
what's the far's favorite shape?
to note.
Please, Anderson.
All right, let's jump in here. Ignore the story elements right now. They're just kind of talking because they want me to do something and I'm not doing it right now. Let's see here. This looks like it makes a huge difference as I hover over these options here. So from low to high doesn't look like a big difference, but it does look like off to low is a much bigger difference. And the screen space reflections, as you can see, there's basically no reflection, and that mirror does not even look like a mirror. So let's kick that to low, and we might not be able to see that in this setting, but that's just something to note, that the off looks nothing at all like a mirror. Fog quality, let's go high there, and then this might be what helps us on our floor, not floor, but our terrain. It's set to low now, but there's a lot of pop in and out on it, so I'm just going to leave it to low for now. And let's jump into it again. Let's resume, and we're going to go down to
55,
61. That didn't really penalize us too much doing what we just did. The allocated VRAM is still really nice. I mean, it's under that 12, so that's what we want. As long as you got enough VRAM, you're fine. When you run out, that's the problem. More VRAM does not necessarily make it faster if it's just sitting there unused. So definitely want to use what's on the card without spilling over and getting some bad performance. So since we're at 53, I'm going to kick on a little bit of the quality DLSS, which will upscale it from a lower resolution. And we are going to go down here. So here we are, DLAA. Let's go with quality. So that's a 960p, and it brings it up to 1440 for us. And that's going to give us a nice little bump back up. Let's see. We're over 60, 68 now. That gave us a little bit. Now notice our VRAM that's allocated dropped down whenever we hit that setting. So we're up in the 70s now, so it's definitely kicked in. So our utilized VRAM is 8.6 and we're at 9.7. So we've got some headroom now that we're at 82 FPS to bring in some more of these nice to have settings. And I feel like the ground scatter would probably be something that I would say would be a nice impact. Let's jump over here. Let's go down here to the, where's the grounds? Okay, the scatter object density. Let's go up to ultra. Look at the difference. So look right here and ultra, bam. I mean, we've got way more stuff going on. Looks like it actually adds elements, adds plants. I mean, it really makes a big difference. So we're gonna get a hit, but let's see what that hit is gonna be. And will it really matter? No, it doesn't really seem to matter. 76, 79, I mean, that's quite nice. It looks a hell of a lot better. I mean, the vegetation alone just fills out the scene so much more. And all that like pop in and out is gone. Yeah, this seems to be like a really nice setting to put on ultra if you can afford to do it with your card. So it did cost us a little VRAM though. I mean, we're up to 9.2 again allocated, but only 8.7 of utilized, and I think that's a small jump from 8.4. So yeah, not too bad. I don't want to go over there. That's part of the story, so let's avoid that. I don't want to ruin it for anyone. All right, so over here we've got much more vegetation. I mean, this just looks way, way, way better. So let's see what we can do. If we can get kind of fancy pants with it and jump over here to the graphics settings again. So we have maxed it out. Screen space, let's go ahead and bring that up. And now we're into the area where we could start exploring some of these ray tracing settings. So I'm just going to go low, and that automatically checks these two things. That's fine. I'm not going to mess with path tracing right now because obviously that's a little bit more taxing. So we're just going to go with low, and let's back out of here, bring that back up, and what did it cost us? That was a pretty big hit. Whenever you bring ray tracing in, you know, it really does just hammer the GPU. So that's kind of where I'm at with this, is like if you don't mess with ray tracing, you can pretty much max out everything across the whole gamut of the game. But once you bring that ray tracing in, you know, that's going to cost you. Now I am on quality DLSS. I could jump over into the DLSS settings again. Say you really liked ray tracing. Say you just really, you know, wanted to have that ray tracing turned on. Like, I love the ray tracing. I think it's nice. You could go one of two ways. You could come in here and say, okay, you know, 50 FPS is fine. I'm just going to kick on the 2x and enjoy the game. Or you could give up a little bit of that clarity and go to like a balanced setting on your DLSS, which is 835p, and that almost gives you 60. I mean, at this point, you know, yeah, it's 60. I would say this is not a bad way to go. It does look a hair bit softer, but only in the distance. it doesn't seem to affect like things that are right up on you that much. And it got that VRAM back down to 9.9. So if you do run into a scene that's a little bit more VRAM heavy, you'd have that headroom. So this is a good way to play. Everything maxed out, set to I believe it was balanced. Let me double check because I don't want to tell you the wrong thing. Yeah, balanced DLSS, 1440p balanced DLSS. No frame gen. Everything is maxed out to high and ultra across the board with a ray tracing preset set to low. So you still get a little bit of that ray tracing in there on low without a huge performance hit if you're willing to use that balanced DLSS. But just because I want to make this a very in-depth showpiece, we're going to go to performance, which is 720p upscaled to 1440. So half the resolution. So that's going to give us a big old bump in our FPS here. So 68, I mean not 78, 68, I'm sorry. 67. So we got a little bit more frame rate in the low 70s. So it gave us about 10 FPS. Which on a game like this, man, I mean, anything honestly above 50 is pretty okay for me, because you don't really need like this high refresh experience on a game where you're like walking around in the woods. I mean, it's just not a requirement for a game like this. So I would probably play on these settings or the settings previous with the DLSS set to balanced. But let's jump over here and let's kick on that frame gen. Love it or hate it. It's quite nice. 206. I mean, come on. This is like fine. I mean, that's the thing. It's like I can't exactly tell that it did like some huge amount of filler frames because the game is just a slow-paced game. So really, I'd throw on 4x. It doesn't cost that much more VRAM to go from 2x to 4x, so you know what the hell, let's go in here and just see what we can do. I'm sorry, go to the right tab here. Let's just kick on a little bit of the ray tracing. Let's go up to ultra. Let's back out of there, and of course that did hit our FPS a little bit, but it still feels exactly the same, folks. No different, not a bit. It feels just like it did at 205, and at 50 and at 60. Again, consider the type of game this is. I would not worry too much about having exactly 60 if you could have a game that looked as good as this. This does look really nice. And I would probably even consider dropping these settings back up to that quality DLSS. And that's going to give you in the 90s. 100, well, I mean even more. 120. VRAM still under control. I mean, this is nice. It feels great. I'm on a controller. This is a game that I feel like a lot of people wouldn't mind playing on a controller. You don't need headshots and like triple kills. You're just, again, running around in the woods, searching for clues and solving mysteries and that kind of stuff. While it looks amazing, it looks really good. It's a great looking game. So, just to go all the way out with it, I would not recommend using path tracing without some sort of combination of DLSS and frame gen, for sure. So the path traced indirect lighting. Oh, it looks like that was it. Oh, so when I kicked it over to ultra, that turned on path tracing. So that is path tracing. Okay, great. So that makes me feel pretty good. Again, this is super in-depth. If you just want to see what it looks like without any sort of frame gen, just to get us a real-world scenario, I mean, 39 FPS, I can tell the difference between what I was just looking at with that DLSS frame gen 4X turned on and freaking 35 FPS. It looks a lot more slow. So you can definitely tell the difference. So in this particular case, playing at 30 FPS on a game like this, there's a lot of console games that still target 30 FPS. I mean, and they are considered a playable experience. If you want to go this route, you can, to just have everything completely maxed all the way out. So let's just see what going back down to that performance does for us. 51, much more smooth. I mean, this is way better on performance DLSS with everything maxed out, path tracing, everything. And I would probably play it like that with, jump over here, throw on that 4X. We're still under our VRAM allocation, 164. I mean, this is way better. And, you know, I'm the type of person, I don't really care how you're giving me the frames, as long as it feels right and feels good. And this feels right and it feels good. You know, I mean, this doesn't feel like I'm sacrificing anything at all as far as responsiveness or anything. In a lot of games that you want that responsiveness, you're going to turn the settings way down anyway, because that's the most important, like a competitive shooter. But in a story-based game like this, I would absolutely play it this way on this card. With all the bells and whistles turned on, the whole max settings, everything just all the way up, and just enjoy the experience. So that's going to wrap this video up. I feel like I've really done a pretty comprehensive rundown of all the different ways you can play this game on 1440 with a 5070. And again, here's the settings. I mean, everything you see here is completely maxed out all the way up, and with that 4X turned on. If you're still with me, this is with a base frame rate of 52 FPS, which is perfectly acceptable in a slow story-based game like this. I'll try to get my words out. And that 4X is, I mean, I don't want to call it magic. I know that it's a controversial thing, but you know, why not have it on with such a little VRAM hit? It helps your experience. It looks better. And at the end of the day, you know, it feels like it's perfectly fine. If you were to put me in front of this game and tell me nothing about it, I would consider it perfectly playable with these settings. So that's my big rundown of Alan Wake 2 with all the settings explored as much as I possibly can at 1440p with a 5070. If you have not subscribed, please do so. If you're still on if you're still watching this right now, thank you so much for hanging out, and the watch time really helps me out a lot. Subscriptions go a long way, and it'll help me make more and more of these videos. So if you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up, and if you really feel compelled to do so, a subscription means the absolute world. So with that, I will see you guys in the very next video. Appreciate it.